Students, welcome to the Digital Arts critique of the Design a Science textbook cover. I'm Mrs. Girot. The first thing you need to do is open up your critique quiz in another window so that you can take the quiz as you watch this video and complete the critique. You can pause this video as necessary to answer the quiz questions. I just wanted to make a quick reminder, don't forget to post your artworks on your blog. So you can probably see your artwork here if you've been posting. I'm paying attention. This is our agenda for this week's critique. We're just going to announce the week 2 assignment winners, go over the Utah State Standards for Visual Arts, discuss what a critique is, then you'll critique the student artwork, take the quiz, and vote for a winner. So let's announce the winner of the Week 2 Inkscape Basic Tutorial Assignment. Before we do, we've got some runners-up, or runner-ups. I'm not sure what's the appropriate term for that. Probably runner-ups. I don't know. You decide. Beautiful designs that students created just exploring the basic design tools that Inkscape has. It's always fun to see how everybody can do the same assignment in such a unique and interesting way. I was really impressed with how creative everybody was. Good job, everyone. And even if your work isn't posted up here, I just want you to know that I was thoroughly impressed and enjoyed everybody's submission. Good job, everyone. All right, so let's go ahead and get a drum roll. And the winner is... Congratulations! Oops, I forgot to get the name of this person. I just am feeling like a heel right now. Okay, so I did go in and I did try to find the author of this image, but there wasn't a name given to any of the files that looked representative of this. So I guess this is a good plug for me to say, hey guys, make sure that you're giving your artwork a good descriptive name. For example, a great name for this would have been Wolf Sleeping by the Moonlight with Swords. And I could have gone back and found Wolf Sleeping by the Moonlight with Swords, because basically when you guys give me submissions, all I get are the links. I have hundreds of your files that are saved, and so if it just has your name, that doesn't give me a description of the actual image, so I can't go back and find it. So I hope that makes sense. But whoever this is an incredible design, and thank you so much for submitting it and for giving me an opportunity to explain how important it is to give your artworks good names. So next, what do we have next? The Utah Visual Arts Standards. This is so exciting, guys. You know it. So standard 1 is making. You guys are going to know these by the back of your hands, right? So this is where you explore, understand, and refine an important piece, techniques, and processes in a variety of media. The media that we're using is graphic arts, and we're specifically using the Inkscape program. And whether or not you are aware of it, you are using the art elements and principles. And maybe some of you are aware of it and understand how these principles can make a design more interesting. And as you go through these critiques and you see the way that students are using the elements and principles, these are things that you will be able to incorporate in your artworks in the future. Standard 2 is perceiving, and that's why this process that we're doing today in critiquing and evaluating is so important, because you can take what you learn from others and from your own mistakes and accomplishments, and you can apply that to future works. Standard 3 is expressing, and this is where you create meaning in visual art. So this week's assignment, the textbook art, is actually an opportunity to create more meaning. As a student, when I get a textbook, you know, what's on that cover, really, that first impression is really important. It sets the tone for a class. If you get that cover and it's just kind of like, ooh, this does not look like it's going to be fun, That sets a tone. Or if you get a cover and it goes, oh, wow, this is really cool looking. I'm kind of curious. I want to read more about this. So be thinking about the way that the cover of an artwork, the first thing that someone sees, sets an impression, sets the tone. Okay? So what you guys have done is you have set the tone for a science class by designing the cover of a textbook. So, um, understanding how we perceive art is an important part of the expressing process because we need to understand as we're expressing something that the way that we express it is going to impact the way that it is perceived and whether or not it's going to be popular, flattering, um, something that lures people in and makes them want more. Standard 4 is contextualizing, and this is a pretty big deal for this assignment. Look, it even has the word text in it, and we created a text book cover. So this is where you're aligning your works of art with other subjects like history, geography. And this week we aligned our works of art with science. So, and it is a very direct application, creating a textbook cover for a science class. What do you know about science? How could you use shapes to create a science textbook cover? And I know that for some of you, at first, the Inkscape program was just so overwhelming that this was kind of scary for you, but it is incredible to see how you pushed through that fear. You pushed through the unknown and you all created a product that was incredible that I know I could see every single one of your textbook covers in print. Remember that a critique is not using words like ugly or pretty, and it's not saying whether you like something or don't like something. You're going to step back and distance yourself from these personal opinions that, of course, come natural for you as a human being. Making judgments is something that you do every single minute of every day. It is how you survive. The challenge of the critique is to step back and use more of an objective, non biased, detachment from your emotions, 4-step critical thinking process. Okay? So the first step is just a description of what you see. What medium is it? Graphic arts. What is it? It's a science textbook cover. Analysis. What elements and principles of design are used? So this is where we kind of get deep and heady and start thinking about all of those things that if you don't have them memorized at this point, hopefully by the end of this class, you'll be able to name off and list several elements and principles of design and incorporate them in your artwork and be able to identify them in artworks. Interpretation. What is the message? Evaluation. Did the artist successfully demonstrate that they used and practiced the tools in the Inkscape Basic? Oh, that's from last week. So this is not going to apply for this week's, but don't worry, we will get to a critique that does. But if we were looking at last week's Inkscape Basic tutorial, for example, did the artists fulfill the rubric? So sorry that this is old hat. Let's think of a way that the evaluation process could apply to this week, and that's what we'll do in the next steps. So these are the elements of design, also known as the elements of art. I know that that can sound confusing, that we can call them two different things, but the basic root of it is elements, okay? So when we think about elements in chemistry, for example, okay? So what are the basic elements that compose life? Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, right? So think about the basic elements that compose art: line, shape, space, value, texture, color. And principles of design. So what are those principles? Well, what that means is that you're taking all of those elements and you're putting them together and you're making a composition in which we find pattern, contrast, emphasis, balance, proportion, harmony, rhythm. These principles are what make an artwork interesting to look at or experience or think about. So So the description aspect, what do you see? I see a biology textbook cover that was illustrated using a graphic arts program. Ding! That's all a description does. Analysis. What elements of art does the artist incorporate? So thinking about those elements. These are just examples. Line. Irregular jagged lines are used to suggest texture and rhythm of the natural world. Shape. Solid shapes make up the dragonfly, the whale, and these lily pad or Pac-Man-like structures, which could be macrophages. Sheesh, I never even thought to call them macrophages. How about you? Is that what you were thinking? You're like, ding, ding, ding. Color. The green hues reflect the colors of aquatic life. We see all these green hues, right? The use of blue only on the dragonfly creates emphasis on this flying creature who's looking down on the sea scene far below. Pattern. These jagged lines that spiral in circles create a pattern in the ocean waves. This same jagged line pattern is repeated on the lily pads and the dragon's wings. Scale. The dragonfly is actually larger than the whale below, which gives the mind's eye a visual cue that our perspective is from high above the ocean below. Rhythm. The direction of the jagged lines on the ocean surface and the lily pads that rotate and spiral downward create the feeling that the ocean current and the air is flowing in a circular motion. So, interpretation, what's the message? Well, for me, the message is that biology, which is the study of life, right, is beautiful. So, life is beautiful. Study it. Learn more about it. Evaluation. Did the artist successfully use the shapes in Inkscape to create an interesting textbook design? I think so. I think it's pretty awesome. I think this person rocked the biology world. Does this textbook cover make you want to open it up and read what's inside? What step of the critique process simply describes the medium, the subject matter, and what is seen? That's right, description. What step of the critique process describes the use of line, shape, and pattern in the artwork? That's right, analysis. What step in the critique process takes a deeper look at the meaning behind an artwork that at first glance seems superficial? Interpretation. And what step of the critique process assesses whether the artist successfully used shapes to create an interesting design that would entice students to read what's inside? Evaluation. So let's go ahead and critique. And as you critique, I want you to take your time to think about how each textbook reflects the elements of art and principles of design. What did each artist do that was interesting and unique compared to the other designs? Okay? And then I also want you to get a piece of paper and keep track of your favorites. Write down the numbers on the slides of your favorites. And then later, when you go in to vote for a winner, there's a little slideshow in there. You can go back and just review the ones that you liked the best on that slideshow so that you can narrow it down to one.
wonderful place. It's a wonderful place. For you. For you. For you. Hey! Tell me what I see. Boy, girl with the new clothes on, you can shake it to me all night long. Hey, hey. It's a beautiful world we live in, a sweet romantic place. Beautiful people everywhere. The way they show they care makes me want to say, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world. For you. For you. For you. It's not for me. It's a beautiful world. For you. It's a beautiful world. For you. It's a beautiful world. For you. It's a beautiful world. Not me. It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world.
All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed the critique of student work. I thought it was really incredible, and hopefully you feel the same. Next, just make sure that you read the feedback that I give you in your grade book. So you'll want to click on grades at the top of the home page. If you didn't get a perfect score, please use my feedback to make any improvements necessary and resubmit for full credit. And this also applies to test and quiz scores as well. You can always go back and just retake a test or quiz to improve your score. And it tallies whatever your best score was for your grade. Also, don't forget, if you have questions, insecurities, just come and see me in the classroom for help. That's what I'm there for. Monday through Thursday, 12 to 1, Tuesday and Wednesday, 3 to 4, and Fridays, 1:30 to 2:30. And that concludes our critique for this week. So go ahead and take the critique quiz and vote for a winner. And have a great weekend.
It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world.